You think of stillness as the opposite of fire. Quiet, passive, lifeless. To be still seems to mean to withdraw from existence, to step back from the motion that defines life. Yet Shams Tabreez overturned this assumption. He said that stillness is not the end of movement, but its unseen origin. The restless mind believes that activity gives meaning, but the wise know that meaning is what allows activity to arise. Shams claimed that when the self stops chasing, it begins to ignite. He called this inner fire not a product of effort, but the awakening of presence itself. When you no longer seek motion, true movement begins on its own. But if stillness holds such power, why do you fear it more than exhaustion? In the 13th century, Shams Tabreez walked through a world proud of its knowledge and rituals. The learned believed progress was achieved by speech, debate, and devotion expressed in form. Shams disrupted this pattern. He said that truth does not appear through noise or repetition, but through attention. In his meeting with Rumi, the outer brilliance of intellect was turned inward. What had been expression became contemplation. For Shams, every genuine transformation began where the mind could no longer interfere, in the unmoving awareness from which all movement flows. You have been trained to associate stillness with passivity. To pause feels like failure. The world measures worth by reaction, by how quickly you respond, how effectively you continue. Yet Shams Tabreez warned that most of what passes for action is repetition. It does not create. It maintains the old. He said that motion without awareness is a circle, not a path. To act from unrest is to be ruled by what disturbs you. But to rest within awareness is to act from clarity. If you never stop, how can you know whether your movement serves truth or merely distracts from it? You try to be still, even for a moment. Immediately, thought begins to resist. It tells you to improve, to continue, to justify your time. It calls stillness waste. Yet, if you watch carefully, you begin to notice that this urgency is fear. Fear of seeing what remains when you stop performing. Shams Tabreez said that the one who cannot be still is not free. Stillness does not end movement. It exposes its root. When awareness no longer obeys the compulsion to act, a new kind of seeing begins. You discover that most of what you call purpose is a disguise for avoidance. If your identity collapses the moment silence begins, what exactly was holding it together? For Shams, stillness was not absence, but active presence. He said that the divine does not speak through noise, but through balance, the point where nothing is forced. To him, stillness was the moment when the self's interference ended and reality revealed its own rhythm. He taught that the fire of awareness burns not by effort but by surrender. When resistance stops, energy flows without confusion. The world does not depend on your striving. It unfolds through order already present. If stillness is the hidden cause of every true act, what remains of the one who insists on doing? When you no longer chase impressions, thought begins to loosen. You stop arguing with experience and start witnessing it. In that quiet, awareness gathers strength. Shams Tabreez called this the fire that does not consume. It does not destroy the world. It reveals what is false within it. He said that when stillness deepens, action becomes necessity, not choice. You do not decide to move. Truth moves through you. The restless will says, I must act. The awakened awareness says, let action appear. One burns through exhaustion, the other burns through understanding. But can you bear to wait, to let all lesser flames die before the true fire lights itself? Control appears as safety. You plan, define, and predict so that nothing surprises you. Yet Shams Tabreez said that control is the greatest barrier to awakening. It is the ego's attempt to secure permanence in what is always changing. When you release control, you do not fall into chaos. You fall into alignment. Action then becomes response, not reaction. You move not to protect identity, but to express reality. Stillness is the death of ownership, and in that death, a greater intelligence begins to act through you. If you are no longer the one steering, does life lose direction or finally find it? To Shams, the fire of truth was pure intensity without craving. He warned that ordinary passion burns outward and ends in exhaustion. Desire demands result. Awareness asks for nothing. When the personal will dissolves, a deeper will awakens, one not separate from existence itself. This is the fire that acts without attachment. It creates without claiming. It moves without expectation. In that state, the world's events no longer appear as threats or rewards, but as expressions of one movement. Can there be passion without possession, or is every desire already proof of distance from what is real? Shams Tabreez taught that stillness and movement are not two states, but one process seen from different sides. When awareness is divided, you alternate between action and retreat. When it is whole, movement itself becomes stillness. Stillness, in this sense, is not something you enter or leave. It is the background that never changes. From it, every motion arises and returns. The Sufis called this acting without acting, participation without possession. In this unity, doing and being become one. You realize that what you called effort was only interference. If all motion emerges from stillness, what remains to be achieved? Now the meaning of Shams' teaching becomes clear. Stillness is not the opposite of life, but its purest expression. It is not an interval before movement. It is the awareness that allows movement to exist. You see that every impulse, every choice, every emotion rises and falls within something that never moves. The seeker was only a thought in motion. The seeing is what remains when that motion ends. Stillness does not wait for transformation. It is transformation. Fire does not begin there. It is what stillness has always been. When nothing is pursued, everything becomes visible. When nothing is claimed, everything acts through you. What remains now but to rest as what never needed to begin? The journey begins with the belief that stillness is emptiness and ends with the realization that it is the source of all energy. Through Shams Tabreez's paradox, movement and stillness merge into one understanding. What you call activity is only the echo of a deeper awareness. You learn that reaction is not creation, and that control hides the living rhythm of truth. The fire Shams spoke of is not emotion or desire. It is the intensity of being itself, free of motive. When restlessness dissolves, you find no void, only clarity. The mind that feared stillness discovers that it was never apart from motion. It was motion within stillness all along. What burns at the end is not the self. It is only its illusion of separation.